Hello everyone, I'm Colin Canet. Today it's time for me to review some advanced techniques that will help some of you out getting better results on the jointer. So let's get started. Now the very first thing with any jointer is the jointer knives must be slightly above the outfeed table. And you can see that mine are because when I push this flat piece of wood, see how the head moves? And that's just about right. And the detail of that is in my other video. So I'm not going to talk about that now, but that's important. If your knives are not above the outfeed table, you will never get straight flat wood. Now, the second thing that's important is that your fence is absolutely 90 degrees to the outfeed table. Hopefully it is with the infeed table. If it's off a little bit with the infeed, don't worry so much about that, but the outfeed is critical. And if you're using one of these combination squares, you might want to invest in a good quality engineered square because some of these inexpensive combination squares are not actually square. They're not accurate enough to get a good quality cut. Now, when you're jointing wood, the outfeed table is your most important part. So when you start pushing your wood through, what you want to do, and that's why you want to make sure you have these anti-skid push pads. Once you've started and you can grab the wood safely on the outfeed, like this is where I am now. Don't worry about what's going on back here in the infeed table. Your outfeed table is your most important part. Put all your pressure on your wood, on your outfeed table, and keep pushing until the wood is clear of your cutter head. When it comes to your wood selection that you're going to joint, the very first consideration with any wood is what's the moisture content of the wood. This is a moisture meter that I use, but there's lots of different ones on the market. Now, the reason that knowing the moisture content is important is this. First of all, the moisture content you want, as a general rule, is right around 9%. And the reason that that is so important is this. If you have a higher content of moisture content and you've pushed your wood through, here's what happens. You take off the top layer of wood, and that top layer of wood is dry. And maybe you have to take a couple of passes. What you end up with underneath is wood that is wet. And what happens with that wood? It starts drying, and it starts drying right away because you've taken off all of the dry wood, so it right away is going to want to release that moisture into the air. And that moisture, what happens when a board starts drying and the moisture on one side of this starts to leach off? What happens when wood dries? It contracts. And what happens when wood contracts is very often this wood will start cupping because it needs to pull itself together. So you will end up with a board that is cupped. Now that won't happen right away. Usually it takes a day or two for that to actually start showing up. So the very first thing when you're dealing with any wood that you're going to be jointing, it's imperative that that wood is dry for whatever area you live in, and 9 or 10% is considered an industry standard. You can go more or less, but 9 or 10% is a good number for most people to work with. So the next question is, how long should the wood be that you're jointing? Well, the answer to that is, how long or how tall is the project that you're working on? If it's 4 feet long, then rough cut your wood to 4 feet 3 inches or 4.5 feet and joint that part. Don't try and joint an entire 8-foot, 6-foot, or 8-foot long board. It just won't work, and let me show you why. Here's an example of a board that I have, and when you first look at it, it looks fine, but look at this. When I run this board through and put pressure on the outfeed table, look at the infeed table. Look at it moving around like that, and look at it, it's not even touching the infeed table, and this is how that would want to be jointed. Now it would joint the entire length of this board. The problem is that when I get finished, it's still going to have that bow in it because there's no way of taking that out. So what you need to do when you have a board like this that's bowed, you need to flip it over so that the bow is on the bottom. But you need to be careful. If you put pressure on like that when you're pushing this wood through, what's going to happen is you're going to end up putting the same bow on this board because you put pressure all the way through and you jointed the entire edge. But when you get finished and put it on the jointer, guess what? It's going to spring. It's going to be just like that. So you're not going to have solved anything. But the way to fix this is if you're going to, say, make a 2-foot project, or you need something that's 2 feet long, you would want to cut that board there. And what's going to happen is that board is going to flatten out. It's going to be, just like that, so that you will be able, when you run that board through the jointer, it's going to be much flatter because it's going to have alleviated a lot of that bow. So very important to cut your wood to the size or close to the size that you want before you run it through your jointer. And here's another example. In this case, this is some holly that I have, and it's very, very twisted. You can see how twisted it is, and that is what happened when it dried. And because it is so twisted, you could never run this through a jointer without first cutting it into a section that you wanted, and only then would you be able to get a nice straight flat piece of wood that you could work with. You could never, you could never ever joint this entire 7-foot piece of holly. Aside from the moisture content, there are many other things that can affect the outcomes of jointed boards. Some of them are the grain structure that's already in the wood. Some woods have built-in tensions in them that every time you joint it, the wood wants to turn or curve. In this case, there's a big knot in the middle. That can affect how straight the board comes. Different species can be jointed differently, and different parts of the tree, some wood further out towards the bark doesn't always plane as nicely as wood that's toward the center of the tree. So lots of different things that you need to consider when you're jointing wood. Now, even after the wood is dry, you can find that wood is cupped. And if it's very near the thickness that you already need, and you have a board that's cupped, the best thing to do is going to be to cut it at wherever the height is, cut it right down the middle, joint it and glue it back together. Because here's what happens when you try and joint wood where there's cupping. Now I'm just going to use this wood little marker board here, and I don't know if you can see. You can see. See how it's very narrow in here, but look at how deep the cut needs to be over here. Much, much deeper than it is here. So the same is true on the top. See the difference there? On the top, if I were to draw that line, it's going to be way down here, so you're going to be cutting off the hump of this as well. So you're going to lose all that wood, so you're only going to end up with this amount of wood from here to here. So you're going to lose a lot of wood if you try and joint a wood that's that badly cupped. So that's how you get rid of that, is you cut the wood, and because you've cut it in the middle, you'll be able to put it back together and probably match up the grain, or very close match up the grain. Many woodworkers, including myself, the day that the wood is jointed and or planed, I never use the wood that day. I always wait a day or two or even more to allow that wood to sort of relax and form into the shape that it wants to be, because it's going to do that anyway. And it's just a good methodology to get into to help know what shape that wood is before you start using it. Well, that concludes my video on updates on using the jointer and some of the pitfalls that you have to look for and watch for, and some of the things that you can avoid or change that are going to give you better results when you're jointing wood. I'm Colin Cadet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.